Hello guys, this is the BreatheCode platform and today we'll be doing some JavaScript AJAX exercises. Okay, we're assuming that you did from the front end web development course the DOM, you read it and you did the REPLs from events, and now we are on the AJAX section. So after you are done reading it, click on view more and it will take you to your REPLs. Specifically, you'll see now a new REPL here that says JS AJAX. Click on the first exercise and here we are. Again, you have to complete first JavaScript events and the DOM in REPL before continuing with this one. As you may know, AJAX is a technology that this purpose is to interact with servers. And to interact with the servers, we use the HTTP protocol. The HTTP protocol has two main steps. The request that you do to the server and the response that comes back from the server. The request has four properties that we'll see in more details in the next REPLs, and the response has three main properties that we'll see also later in more REPLs. Right now, this particular example, it's saying that it's doing the following request, a GET request to this URL. So let's see. We have a new XML HTTP request. It's opening the request with the GET method and the URL, it's this one. It's the same as this one, so that's perfect. This true here that you see at the end, the third parameter, means that the request is going to be asynchronous. I suggest and recommend that you always use asynchronous request, because if not, the application will freeze until the request comes back from the server, and you don't want that. Instructions. Please add or attach an event listener to the XHttp variable that listens to the load event and alert the server respond inside that listener. Hint, use the add event listener function. Okay, so we already know how to use the add event listener function, so it will be add event listener. It's saying that we should listen to the load, so let's put it here, and our listener will be my great listener. Let's create that function here, my great listener, and here you know it's a listener and all listeners receive the same parameter, event. Okay, now that I added my listener, let me alert what they're asking me to alert. The server responded, so let me put it here. I click on run and there's my alert. Maybe this seems like a stupid exercise, but it's not, because what's happening here is that it's going to the server, it's requesting for some information, it's coming back, and now when the response came back, is alerting here inside the listener. So let's check on the network. Let's run it again. No, wait, let me put that on the right. Okay, let's click it again, and here we have hello.php here. This is our request. It's an XHR. It's a shortcut for this, and it has a 200 status code. So if we click here and we expand this, you'll see that the request here is a GET to this URL, and the response from the server has this content. But we'll see that in the next exercise. This exercise is finished, so I can now submit. Let's go to the next one, the response object. So it's saying every request to a server brings back a response object that contains all the information related to the communication. The three most important attributes are the response code, the content type, and the content body. The response code, it's just one code that tells you what happened with the response, if it was okay, if everything went well, or if an error was encountered in the server side, etc. These informational responses, they normally don't matter when you are doing AJAX, because remember that HTTP is not only for AJAX. HTTP is the protocol that runs all the web. So these response status codes are not only for AJAX. We don't care about the one anything. We care about the two a lot because it means success. And the difference between 200, 201, 202 will be like a little bit more information about the success. Success means that the communication with the server was perfect. The 300, we don't use them in AJAX. It's a redirection. It's normally what you see when a website is in maintenance or something like that. And the 400 we do care about. For example, you know that the 404 means not found because you've seen it in a lot of websites. But in AJAX, it means that you're trying to request a URL that doesn't exist. It's basically the same, but in a different way. The forbidden means that you are not allowed to go there. The 400 is that your request is not properly set, etc. The 500 errors are also great because they tell us if there was an error on the server side. We as front-end developers, we cannot do anything about the 500, but at least it's good to know that there was an error on the other side of the communication, on the server side. The content type, it's the type of, this is the format of the string that is coming back from the server. Remember that from the server, you will always receive a string. So if that string, you need to later convert it into an object or interpret it in a way, depending on what type of string are you expecting. Types of strings could be, for example, a JSON string, a CSV, an XML. Now the content body, it's the actual content that is in a JSON format, in a CSV format, or in an XML format, or in any other formats available. You can also create your own format if you want. So now instructions. Inside the success listener function, add the code needed to alert the following string. The response came back with an X code with a content type Y and with the content Z. Okay. So here's the response listener. We just need to alert this. So let's do it. Alert. And I close the alert here. Here's my alert, right? Saying everything. But of course, we have to replace X, Y, and Z with the actual values of our request. Let's search in Google how to get the code of the request, or of the response? Of the response, right? This one is not the one we were doing, it's this one. Yeah, of the response. So how to get the response code from XML HTTP request. It's dot status. Here it says dot status, look. Okay, so let's do that. We can here replace the X with, we are gonna concatenate as a string var code equals http.status, and we can put code here, plus code. Then the content type. Let's see, let's do the same. How to request the content type. How to get the content type response from get the response content type. Here it is. This dot response header content type. Okay, let's do that. They are saying this is the same as XHttp here, because remember that in an event listener, this will be the trigger of the event. And who triggered this? Since we're attaching the listener to XHttp, then this guy is who triggered the event. And if we say here this is the same as doing that. So let's do the same. Now it will be this dot var content type equals this dot response get header. Let's put this here, concatenate it, and now we are only missing the actual content of the response. And for that, I don't remember the exact name, so I'm gonna Google it, how to get the content response from how to get the response. Here it is. Is response text? No, they are using jQuery. This one is with jQuery, but the other one is it's normal. Is then response text. So let's do that. Var content equals this dot response text. So now I can put this here at the end and append it, concatenate it. So now if I run my exercise run, I have here the response came back with a 200 code with a content type of application JSON and with the content, and here from this curly bracket to here we see the content. If we see in the inspector, we'll see the same. Look, in the network, if I do the request again, here's hello.php. So this is the content, this is the code, and the content type of the response headers. Here it is, application JSON. You see? So we requested the three things that matter in a response. So now we can submit and continue to the next one. Now it says, use the XML HTTP request to get the request to the following URL. Okay, it's the same as before. As we can see here, hello.php. Once the response arrives, convert that string into a JavaScript object using JSON.parse function. Finally, alert the content property of that object. The result should look like this. Okay, so it's saying that we should request to the same. So maybe it's better to go to the exercise before, copy everything, go back to this one, and do our request. But now I don't want any of this. Well, actually, I want the response text. Okay. The URL is the same. Let's make sure of that. Let's copy and paste so we have no mistakes. Oops, I didn't copy them. Copy. And let's put it here. Okay, it's the same. So it's saying that once the response arrives, convert that string into a JavaScript object. So yeah, remember that this is a text, it's a string. So we cannot use this. But if we convert that, because we know the content type is a JSON, so if we convert that into an object, var object equals JSON.parse content, now we have the same content but as an object. We as humans know when we run this, if we see the response that it's coming. Let me open the inspector again. If I run this in the network tab, I'll see that here's the response. I know that this is an object with one property, one JavaScript object. But I know that because I am a human and humans understand strings very fast. But the computer, for the computer, is just a string. And it's not smart enough to know that the content is a JSON. So you gotta tell the computer, please convert this string into an object. And for that, we use the JSON parse function. We can call that also, this process of converting a string into an object, we can call it decoding. And encoding will be doing the reverse transaction. We'll see that later, how to encode into JSON, convert an object into a JSON. Now it's saying that we need to alert the content property of that object. So let's do it. Alert obj.content. Let's see what happens. Run. Hello world. Perfect. We are alerting, again, if you open the inspector, and here you'll see that the hello comes with the content property. So we are alerting this inside, the content. So this exercise is finished and we can go to the next one. It says AJAX hello world. Let's do the same call, but now instead of alerting the result content, append it to the body concatenated with the string my friend. At the end, the website body should have the string "Hello world, my friend" inside the body HTML content. Okay, it says store the result into a string variable. Okay, let's do it. Let's store the result, var result event dot text response. I think it was. No, it wasn't that because I don't see it in a different color. So let's go back to the exercise before. It was response text. Okay, response text instead of text response. Then convert that into a JSON. Okay, var obj equals json.parse result. Then concatenate the content property of the new object with my friend. Okay, the content property of the new object. So var resulting concat equals the content property, so object.content plus my friend. Let's put the same string here. My friend. And store the result into a variable. Append the value of that variable into the website body. So appending, it's a DOM one thing that we have done a lot in the DOM exercises. It will be document.query selector to the body. Remember that here you can put any CSS selector. We want the body tag dot inner HTML equals resulting concat. And if I run it now, here in the content, you don't see anything. You see nothing. Wow. Okay, let's see what's happening. Unexpected token U in JSON. Okay. Oh, there's a U coming in. Let's see what is that U. So we have to open the inspector again and see the actual network, run it, the hello, and there's no U here. Okay, I know what was happening, and it's not event here, it's this. It could be this, it could be event.trigger, not .target, or it could be XHttp because it's the same. In this case, this guy is the target because we attach the listener here. Or this, because inside the event listeners, when you do this, it retrieves the actual target. So if I run again, we see the hello world, my friend, here at the bottom. Woo! Okay, now let's go to the third one, success and error. It says the only way to know if our request was successful is using the response code. These are the possible values of the response code. We already talked about this. Here you have the Wikipedia page with all the possible response codes. Basically 200 is success and 400 is our error on our side probably, and 500 is probably an error on the server side. So as a developer, you need to prepare for success and also for failure. Please create the GET request to do the following URL. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna copy it from the other exercise. No, not from this one, from this one. Let's copy this. Let's go back to ours and paste it here. So it says to hello PHP. So let me copy hello PHP. Right click, copy, and then paste it here. I think it's the same. HTTPS. Okay. It says show a success or error message in the website body inner HTML, letting the user know if the status of the response. Letting the user know the status of the response. To test an error, you can use the following URL. Okay. So basically, all we have to do is if the status, if the code, because we already retrieved the status. Remember the status will give us the code, the status code. So if code it's equal to 200, then alert success. Let's see. Let's test it out. Success, perfect. Okay, let's test now the 404. 404. Run, nothing happened, that's cool. Else, let's alert failure. Alert error. Okay, run. Error, woohoo! Okay, it's working perfect. Now it's saying that we have to put it in the website body. So let's put it there. For that, I'm gonna request and store in a variable the body. It's equal to document.query selector of the body tag, and then I'm gonna set on here. I'm gonna set the inner HTML. The request was a success. Welcome. And if not, I'm gonna say we are sorry, but the website encountered an error. Run. We're sorry, but the website encountered an error. And if we test for success, we have to remove here this and put hello and run it. And the request was a success. Then submit. Now AJAX project card. Let's go to the next one. It says do a get request to the following URL. Okay, they are changing for the first time the URL. Let me copy from the other exercise here. Project card. I have to paste this here. It says copy this to this URL. It's a get request, so get, and I put this URL here. The response will come back as a JSON. That means that we will have to probably decode it. Please fill the HTML document with the project information that comes back from the server. Okay. There's some HTML already here. Let me run it to see the structure. It says undefined, my friend. What is that undefined? Ah, yeah, because the code that I copied from the other exercise was doing something. So let me remove that, test it again. And this is the HTML that it's right now. And I have to, whatever came in the response text, I have to put it here. So let me analyze what came from the response text. Let's open the inspector, the network tab, run it, and here it is. Project 1 is the same that we were requesting before, project 1. Let me click on it and see the response. So it's this JSON that's coming back. It has a name, a thumb, a description, and a bunch of images. And the URL is project 1, so I'm guessing it's a project. So they want me to put the name here, probably. The thumb, this one, they want me to put it here, and the description here. So let's do that. I already have it as an object because I copied it from the last exercise. I already parsed the JSON, so I already convert this into an object, the result into an object. So now all I have to do is to know the IDs of everything. The ID of the thumb is project thumb, so I'm gonna do document. Let me close the inspector. Okay. Let me also put this back. And okay, so it's document dot query selector. In parentheses, the ID. Remember, it has to be a CSS selector. So you need to put the hash. So that's my project thumb. And I know that I have to change, since it's an image, I have to change the source. And that will be, since my JSON had a thumb property, you can see the thumb property here. If we open the inspector again and we go to network and we run it again, you'll see here in project 1 that it says thumb. So this is an object, and now it's the thumb property that has this And you can already see it here, look. Okay, now the name and the description. So let's do the same. Let's duplicate these lines, and we're gonna change it to the ID of the name, project name, here, project name, then project description. That's the last one. So project description. Here this will be inner HTML because it's not an image. Inner HTML, it's like this. Because the project name is an H3, so I want to change the inner HTML, not the source property. The same with the description. So instead of here thumb will be name, and instead of thumb here will be description. If we run it again, it says Amazon e-commerce, the image, and this, I don't know if this one changed. No, it's not working, look. Because I'm doing it to the source property. So let's double click this and put it here. And run again. That's perfect. Now it's loading from AJAX. It's loading from information that came from the server. I can submit now this. Submit. Now let's go to the next one. List of projects part 1. It says, get the following URL to retrieve a list of all the projects. Then prompt an alert with the total size of the list returned by the server. Okay, so I have to do a request now to this URL. But I don't have here the code for the request, so let me go back and copy it. Perfect. Let me paste it here. Change this URL because this is requesting to hello.php. I want to request to projectlist.php. It's a GET request, so that's perfect. And the listener and the send, it's the same. So I have to alert the total size of the list returned by the server. It says also in the hint, remember the response comes back as a string. You need to use JSON parse. Okay, I'm already doing that here. And then if you inspect the incoming JSON, you will notice that it's an array. Okay, let me see. Let's inspect it. Let me delete this line because it's going to give an error. Let's inspect, do the request, go to the network tab, and look for project list. Here it is. You can also filter here XHttpR, and it will give you only the AJAX ones. So if you click here now, here's the response. It's a bunch of projects, like you can see. It started with an array, and it's the same JSON of the last exercise, but now 3 projects instead of only 1. That's why it's a list of projects. It started with the array, the bracket, not the curly bracket that is for objects. So all I have to do is then, since it's an array, I have to do the dot length. It will be like this. Oops. Alert object dot length. I know it's 3 projects, but let's check it out. Run 3. That's perfect. Submit. Let me copy this because I know I'm going to use it in the next exercise. Now list of project part 2. It says, now using the same URL and as in the part 1 of the exercise, get the list of projects and render the names of the project inside this URL. Okay, let me change that URL. Project list, this one. Okay, the resulting HTML should be something like this. Okay, it's a list of projects. So let me copy and paste. I know that the list of projects is already here. So let's loop it. Let's do a for var object dot length. No, object var I equals 0. Well, I is less than object dot length I plus plus, because I'm saying that I wanna loop from the 0 position of the array to the last position of the array, but not the last one actually, because this is not less than and equal. No, it's only less than. So it means that it's not gonna loop till 3, because we know that the project list has 3 projects. It's gonna loop till 2. So every time I loop, I want to append to the inner HTML of UL a new li like this one. So let me copy the HTML of this and say var new li equals this as a string. Remember that we need to pass it as a string. But I'm gonna replace Amazon e-commerce with the actual name of the project. For that, I need to close the string and concatenate and then open the string again. So I'm closing the string here, adding a new string, and then adding another new string that it's always going to be the same. The only string that varies is the one in the middle. Object. Not object, actually. It's object in the position I. But object in the position I is a whole project. So we need only the name. For that, let me open here and check again the response. So this will be the first project. This will be the second project. I need the name. So dot name. Here, dot name. Okay, I have my string, but now I need to append it to the UL. So the UL has an ID of project list. So let's grab that UL here, document dot get element by, well, let's use the query selector that it's modern. Query selector to the ID. I need to put the hash because it's an ID and we use CSS selectors in the query selector. Dot inner HTML plus equal new li. If you're asking yourself why the plus equal, is because we don't want to discard the inner HTML that project list had before. We want to add more stuff into it. For example, if you already added this one, we need to add a new one. We don't need to remove the last one. If I remove, I can show you guys, if I leave the equal, probably it's going to show only the last one because it's going to replace the first one, now the second one, and then with the third one, replacing instead of appending to the end. Yeah, only company website, you see? But if I put the plus, I'm going to be adding more and more HTML into the inner HTML. And it's like this. But probably you're asking yourself, why you don't see it like this? Well, it's probably because it says inline table. I'm sure the HTML is already what we want, but it's not displaying as a list. It's displaying in the same line all of it. If you remove this inline table from the CSS and you run it, you'll see the list. There it is. And the HTML is if you right click on the inspector, this is your HTML. It's exactly what we wanted. Look, UL, project list, Amazon e-commerce, Coursera e-learning, and company website. So that's perfect. Okay. Submit. Now the next one. Create a JSON. In the JavaScript tab, okay, create that describes the following object. Create a JSON that describes the following object. You can talk about the color of the legs. The legs can be an array of 3-leg items. Describe the window, the tip of the rocket, etc. There's no right answer for this project. So basically they are making us model or design a JSON object that will be sent to the backend. We can start saying a rocket probably doesn't have a name, so we can start saying colors, and it can be an array of colors. So the array is this. Actually, let's use this JSON editor online. Let's click on it and let's change this to what we want. Okay, got it. So our JSON, it's gonna have one array of colors. Let's say that our colors are gray and red. Instead of having 3 numbers here, let's have colors. Gray, red, and it's giving me an error. Gray, you need to use double quotes. Gray and red. Then, since As you see here, every item has a comma at the end, but the last one, just like with arrays. In a JSON, it's the same. So you gotta put a comma and say window. Describe the window and the tip of the rocket. So we can have one thing that says tip, and the tip, let's make it red. This is not array, this is colors. It was my bad. Okay, another thing we could have, if we keep seeing the picture, it has 4 legs, right? Because it has 3, but you know that it's probably another one behind. So let's say legs. Legs, no, 4 legs. What else can we put? Windows, let's say 1. Windows, it has 1. What else? Well, I think that's probably it. I mean, the exercise is pretty open, so this could be a rocket. It has 2 colors. The tip is red, the legs are 4, and the windows are 1. It has an error here, and it's probably because I have another JSON up above. So let me delete that. And here it is, our JSON. Let's copy this and put it as the result. Submit. Now the next one is render HTML list of projects. Get the project list of the given URL using the same logic used in the exercise 6.1. So let me go to the 6.1. There's no 6.1. Let's assume that it was this one, the 6.1. Now print the whole list of projects instead of only one project card. Okay. You need to traverse the array of projects. Each iteration append the HTML code to display each project into the project list. Okay, so we need to go here. And since this is a code only for one project, we need to copy this and append several of them. So this is Bootstrap, look. It has a row and calls. So let's copy this, every row, and we're gonna have several rows. Actually, let's copy the whole HTML, all of it, and let's put it in the other exercise. Ah, it was already here, look. Well, we need to keep adding rows into the container fluid because we want several projects. So let's say here, let's first put the AJAX request. Here it is. But instead of project number 1, oh, by the way, these instructions are not clear. They are probably referring to the project list. So instead of project number 1, it's project list, I think. Let me see the last exercise. It's list of projects. No, it's the one before. This one, AJAX list of projects. Probably they want us to request here. Okay. So it's the list of projects, and this is the code for one project only, right? But now we need the code for all of the projects. So instead of doing it like this, we'll need to create the whole row dynamically. So let me copy this, all of it, all the row, and create a function, call it display or append project HTML. No, not append. Let's call it generate project HTML. This is gonna generate the HTML for only one project, only one. So let's create here var content equal empty, and we have to append. We have to concatenate content over and over again. For that, there is a trick. We can copy and paste this several times, like this, or we could, if you want, use a command in the keyboard, if you have a Mac computer and you press the Alt key or the Option key, you can actually select several lines at the same time, like this. Look, I'm selecting all of them, pressing the Alt key, and now I'm typing in all of them at the same time. And I can say content plus equal, and then open a string. This string that open here, I don't want it, so I will delete it. Then I'm gonna, okay, and then I'm going to the end of each line and do the same in the end of each line. For that, let's reduce this amount of characters, the length of this description, and we could, because we have to close the strings now, like this, closing. We can close it like that, or we could use the same command. I'm not gonna do it now because it's fast like this, so that's okay. And now return content. So what we're doing here is creating a big string to generate the HTML of only one project. And let's say that the function receives the actual project that we want to display. So here in the project thumb, we have to remove this URL and use the actual URL that is coming from the JSON. So it's project thumb.url. The same with the name. Here it's project.name. And the same with the description. If you don't understand what I'm doing, probably is because you have to go all over the other exercise again. Because this is something that came from the other exercise. Look, in the other one, here, project card, we analyzed the JSON and we knew that thumb, name, and description in the incoming JSON had the information that we wanted. The actual image, the project name, and the description. So we're using the same properties, thumb, name, and description. Now for this one, oh, actually, I'm not using it. It should be thumb instead of URL. Thumb, name, and description, because we're calling to the same JSON, project list.php. Look, project list. Oh, this is project 1, but project list is the same as project 1, but it's a list of projects instead of only one. Let me show you list of projects. Let me open the inspector and run, and I will show you that it's the same. Name, thumb, description. This is the list of projects. So each project has the same name, thumb, description, and images. Images we don't care about. So it's thumb, name, and description. So this function returns the HTML of only one project. So now I have to loop all the projects for var I equals 0. I is less than object.length I++, and inside I will have to append to the parent of all the projects, that is container fluid, every HTML generated by this function on each project. So it will be document.querySelector of container fluid dot inner HTML plus equal each string generated by this function. The first time is going to be generated for the first project. So it's object I. So every time it's going to call this function, but passing a different project, and return the HTML and append it to the end. Let's try. Is it working? I don't know. Let's see. It's not working because it's supposed to be doing the whole list and it's not doing the whole list. So let's see what's happening. Object result. Let's see first in the inspector if the AJAX request it's okay. Let's run it, and here we have the project list. So the actual list came. Look, here's the list. So probably the error it's somewhere else. Let's see now. We are grabbing the response text, converting it with JSON into an object, and then we are looping all of the projects and appending to the container fluid. I'm missing here a dot because it has to be a CSS selector, and this is a class, so it's with a dot. So if we run it, now we see the 3 projects, but we're seeing also the first one. Look, what do you think is that? It's because we are appending, we are not initializing. We should first delete this HTML that came from the front end by default. And for that, we can, outside of the loop, before starting to append all of it, we can set the inner HTML to empty. Like this. Let's test it again. Without the plus, because we're setting it to empty. You see? The 3 projects. And you can also see the interaction. Look, at the beginning, it's going to be, you're going to see here the default project, and you're going to see how it disappears. You see? Fast. Okay, let's submit. This is finished. Let's go to the JSON access part 1. It says, let's say that you have a car object like this one. If we want to alert the color property of the car, we need to use the following command. Alert the color. If we want to alert the second element of the special feature array, it will be something like this. Okay, so it's car.specialFeature. Because it's an array, we use brackets here. It's an array's special features is an array. Instructions. Please take a moment to understand the structure and content of the following JSON. Okay, we've been using this JSON a lot. Look, it's the array of projects in the other exercises. This JSON represents a project portfolio comprised of 3 projects. Okay. Now that you understand that specific JSON, please prompt an alert with the description of Coursera Learning project. Oh, this one's it's not hard. Actually, it seems easy because we've been doing more difficult stuff now. All we have to do is copy a get request from another exercise, and here when we have the object, they are saying that we should alert the description of the Coursera Learning project. Okay, I have no idea what the Coursera Learning project should be. What? This one. So it's the 01, the first project. So it's content in the first dot description. Description because I see in the JSON that it says description here. So if I alert, it says undefined. Let's see why. Because I'm doing object.content and the JSON doesn't have a .content. It's an array. So I have to remove this, and it will be object in the first position, in the position 1 dot description. And nothing happened. Let's say again what's happening. Description. Let me copy and paste this to make sure that it works. OBJ content. Seems perfect. Let's see. Cannot read property description of undefined. Okay, so it's returning undefined object. So that means that content. Oh, it's because I copied and pasted and I didn't use this URL. I'm using hello here. So let me replace it with this one and run it again. The coolest e-learning site on the planet. Okay, let me see if that's the one, the coolest e-learning site from the planet. So that's done. Let me copy this and use it for the next exercise. Now, AJAX Exercises part 2. Download the following Chrome plugin that will help you browse any JSON. Okay, let me click here. It's telling me that I already have it, probably, added to Chrome. But this plugin, JSON Formatter, is the one that is showing me this JSON, this beautiful. Because normally this comes as a string, like this, look. Well, not like that. A lot worse. I think it's, if I click on raw. Okay, well. I'm not able to show you how it comes. But it comes very ugly, and this plugin makes it beautiful. So now that you're going to be working with the following JSON, please take your time and read and understand it. Okay, this JSON, let me copy it. It's a JSON a lot bigger. It has probably, yeah, it has an array of posts, status, count total pages. And inside it has 5 posts. Now it says, please prompt an alert with the value of the URL property of the full image of the object with the ID 139. So 139, 139, 139. There's no 139. No, wait. It says, please prompt an alert with the value of the URL property of the full image of the object with the ID 139. Let me see if we something that says 139. No. 35, 37, 38, 39. So it's this one. Okay. In the following image, we have highlighted in blue the value that you need to retrieve. Yeah, it's the URL of the 139. So it's this one. 139 URL. The full image URL. So for that, we'll need to access all of it. All of these things. Let me copy and paste from the last exercise. This is the code from the last one. Instead of object 1 description, they want us to do posts. Object 1, no, it's object.posts dot, let me see. No, dot nothing because it's an array. So it's an array 139. Let me see where the 139 was. It was not this. Not this one. It was in this one. Yeah. So it's the 0, 1, the first position. And then this is an object that has a bunch of attachments. You see here? And we want the 139. So it's, let me collapse this. Is dot attachments dot attachments dot, no, attachments is an array, but what item do we want? The 139 is the 0, 1, 2, so it's the second one. Then dot images, then dot full, dot images, dot full, and then dot URL, because all of them are objects, so it's a dot. It's only a bracket when you see the bracket, but as we go deeper in the structure, it's always object, object, object. So if I run this, nothing happens. So let's see what's happening. Cannot read property 1 of undefined. So that means that posts in the position 1 is undefined. Let me see. Maybe it's in singular. No, posts in the position 1. Object dot posts in the position 1. So apparently this is undefined. Let me see. Let's comment this and alert this. It says cannot read property 1 of undefined again. So the problem with posts, let me see what is obj. It's an array. Oh, so it's an array. So I didn't change the URL. That was my bad. It's this one. I'm using project list because I'm using it for the last exercise. Let me change it. And now probably what I wanted was okay. Let me see. what I attempted before, it's okay. Run object, images full. So full is an object. Let's see. I think it was this one. Then full. I'm missing the .url. .url. And let's try now. And apparently this is it. Let me see. Is screenshot 10:05:44 p.m. So screenshot 10:05:44 p.m. Okay, yeah, it's this one. So if you put the same in the same window, both exercises, you'll see both the JSON and the result. You'll see that I'm doing posts, object that posts in the 0 first position. Now I scroll down until I see attachments. Attachments, here it is. It's an array. That's why I'm using the brackets. Then the second position, 0, 1, 2 to the 139. Then images, then full, and then URL. And I'm printing this URL because that's here. And that's, I think we can submit this, and that's the last exercise. Thank you all for listening, and see you on the next REPLs or tutorial.